How are ya? Hyper, scooter. Love the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, become a member, and join the radical left, Antifa, socialist, communist, soy boy, woke, flower picking, party people, animal hugging, tree hugging, grass, touching sand, uh, best group of empathic, passionate, uh, lovers there ever was. Let's make that. That's like oh man, that reminds me of what was it, Nirvana? Nirvana. One of Nirvana's T-shirts. It says, I gotta find it. Give me 1 second. Am I still here? Am I still here? Now I'll show you. Sardion, you just reminded me of this. This reminded me of this. This T-shirt. Flower sniffing, kitty petting, baby kissing, corporate rock whores. I do not have that Nirvana T-shirt, but that's one I would appreciate. That's one I'd like. That is 100% a Nirvana shirt I'd rock. I'd rock. I rock. I rock. That's a Nirvana shirt that I would rock. There's a lot to get to. We're gonna talk about some Tony Hinchcliffe, Heathcliff Huxtable, whatever his name is. I don't know. He's got a new special out that came out a week ago, and there's still no clips online. I don't want to have to watch this whole thing. And if you have Netflix and you go to Netflix, you can't like screenshot or record anything off Netflix. And I don't understand. Usually when a special comes out, there is Tony Heathcliff, whatever his name is. What's up, Troll Slayer? Troll Slayer, ease up on the mutant people today. Oh, what's up, CJ? Good to see you. Long time. How you been? Cage is here. Welcome everybody. Stroll in. We're going to talk about inflation numbers, how everybody got a pay cut, the war crimes happening, and Tony Hinchcliffe Huxtable, whatever his name is. The dude who looks like he's the one talking about cryptocurrency at a barbecue in Texas. He's the dude who looks like, and the only clip that I've seen of him, he calls this guy in the audience a gay magician, which I'm like, that's not the caliber of Netflix stand-up special humor I'm looking for. But I guess like to the Joe Rogan uh universe, that's really funny. You know, get a little more clever, like Tony Hinchcliffe. You look like an extra in Brokeback Mountain. You know, that's a way to call you a gay cowboy without saying gay cowboy. You know, I don't know. Just seems like your comedy is a little lazy, but whatever, whatever. I don't have an here, MAGA. I'll cut you off at the pass. Tony Hinchcliffe Huxtable fans, cut you off at the pass. You're just jealous. You don't have a Netflix special. I don't know if I want to do a Netflix special, but I get your sentiment. Anybody attacks the crown, which apparently he's wearing on his belt. The fuck is up with that? Dude's lived in Texas for what, 3 minutes? And he's got a goddamn looks like a what are they called? The funeral people? He looks like a goddamn Texas mortician. Is that is that the word mortician? Mortuary attendant? Mortician. Yeah. That's I was thinking Morticia from the Addams Family, a funeral director. He looks like a goddamn Austin funeral director. Like he's gonna crack a couple of jokes while you're burying your loved ones. My God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Hmm. He looks like that what was that? One of them youth pastors. Like the Justin Bieber youth pastor mentorship program, who's also a huge fan of Joe Rogan. Like this guy has so many vibes that he's given off, and none of them are authentic. Tony Hinchcliffe, why did you think wearing a huge belt buckle was the pathway? I don't get it, you know? But whatever. This is so adorable. I love it. I love it. He's like, I bet he was like, I'm the gayest man in black there ever was. Johnny Cash would be so excited to see me pay homage to him. as Ellen. This is Ellen DeGeneres pretending to be Johnny Cash, the man in black. Anyways, the embalmer. Sane Folks Wednesday, happy. What's up, knowing someone? A balding Shaggy Rogers. Tony is a hack comic. Yeah. I'll play a clip. The only clip that Netflix is Sorensen. Hi from, is that Sweden or Norway? Please correct me because I'm probably wrong. Salty Slay, Wham Bam. Thank you, ma'am. Boss Rob, exercising his right to bear arms. Well, these are human arms. Da-da-da-da-da. Bow. Tony, go ahead and steal that joke, buddy. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. Where's the 10-gallon hat? That's what I'm wondering. Like, that's the only thing missing, man. That's the only thing missing. Tony, Tony. You should have went out there with a huge hat. And what are those things called? What are the cowboy necklaces called? God, I can't think of nothing. How is it a cowboy necklace? I don't think it's a cowboy necktie. A bola tie, not Ebola tie. A bolo tie. Yo, Tony should have totally went out there with the bolo tie. Like, dude, if you're gonna get the fucking 8-inch belt buckle that I don't know, is that a horse on it? Does he have a horse? Tony, you've never even ridden a horse, man. Come on. Come on. You should have at least had a bolo tie and a 10-gallon hat. I usually won't watch YouTube streamers in tank top, but it's I'm sorry, President Reagan. I don't want you to leave. Do I need to put a shirt on? It's just like 90 out today and I had to do something. However, that Ellen Johnny Cash joke would have killed at the mothership. That would have dominated. I would have became headliner after that line. That's so funny. Ryan, what's up? OMG, I don't care for real. Good to see you. It's been a while. It's been a while. A bolo tie. That's country style. Yeah. Bolo ties. Hardcore country. I don't know, Tony. You should have just went out there with chaps, your ass hanging out, you know? If you really want to be a shock comic, you know? Just let your little dingling hang out there. Just wear some assless chaps and a bolo tie and do your whole stand-up set like that, you know? You'd be getting attention then. You'd be like, what, is this too shocking for you? You could be the Lady Gaga of comedy. But then you get kicked out of the mothership. No, I'm not the guy from Survivor. I'm sorry. If you've seen Survivor and then you looked at me, did you really think I look like Rob Mariano? That dude's as Italian as fucking Prego spaghetti sauce. I thought you stopped going live. What? No. Did you stop getting notifications? Did you set the notifications to all? Something happened with my YouTube channel just about a month ago. Where it went boo. I don't know if the MAGAs were like doing something or if YouTube just said we're not gonna notify anybody because people were telling me, yeah, you think your notifications got turned off? Okay. Yeah, because a lot of people said they were not getting notified. So what's hanging around your neck, Rob? The figurine. No, I don't have a figurine. This is my best friend, one of my best friends who passed away not last summer, the summer before. I got his ashes. And then a rosary. And save your breath if you're going to tell me rosaries aren't for your neck. Suck it. That's not a law. What did the Pope say it? I don't abide by what he says. I listen to Jesus, and nowhere did Jesus even mention a rosary. You know, that's Catholicism at peak maximility. Okay, we're gonna play some Tony Hinchcliffe first, and then we got to get into the economics of everything. Where Hassan Piker's huge foam Trump hat. Oh my God, I would love, CJ. I would absolutely love to get one of those. When this channel's real big, CJ, I can get you and me one of those. Okay. I'll get you a PO box. I can ship it out to you. Then you can wear it when I do. I love that he's got the MAGA gear. It's so funny. I would love to have some of that. Native Texas here. What does ranch work in Crocs, beach shorts, and a wide brim gardening hat? The people who come to Texas and dress like cowboys are compensating for insecurities. Thank you, Cage. Makes them feel tough. Yeah, I was gonna say, this is very like, these are the aesthetics that Tony Hinchcliffe, Heathcliff, whatever his name is, thinks he needs to present to the public. Like, hey, I'm a real Texan now. Been living there for about 4 months. You know, my good old partner in cattle rustling, Joe Rogan. We too be the pioneers of the West. You know, this is like just very inauthentic, and it's shocking that he chose this for a big Netflix special because it's like, why? Why? Does your are you is Tony Hinchcliffe pivoting to become like Larry the Cable Guy? He's gonna be like Tony the cattle rustler, you know? Is that what's going on? I don't know. It just seems like a it's like he's about to take a pivot, you know? He's really gotta sell himself to his audience. And I think the reason he has to do that is because his jokes just it's nothing like here. You figure when Netflix puts a lot of money into a special, right? Netflix is expecting a high degree of return. Like I think about probably the biggest Netflix special had to be Bo Burnham's Inside. A lot of events culminated to that being so big, I think. Let me look it up. Let me look up biggest Netflix comedy special. So I don't want to say it. I just think it's Bo Burnham's thing. No, Chris Rock's Selective Outrage is the most streamed. 798 million views. Wow. Yeah, Dave Chappelle, I figured. I just thought Bo Burnham was gonna be up there. Okay, so Chris Rock, right? And I bet if I went to look up Chris Rock's Selective Outrage, uh, let's go to YouTube. Just want to see if I can make a point. And I'm gonna play Tony Hinchcliffe in 1 minute. Oh, the whole thing. Oh, the whole thing. Never mind. The whole thing is on YouTube. You could just watch it. So yeah, I guess that is my point. Here's a ton of. Here, I'll play a clip. I hope I'll play a short clip. Is this a short clip?
With the wokeness. I have no problem with it at all. I'm all for social justice. I'm all for marginalized people getting their rights. The thing I have a problem with is the selective outrage. Right. Selective outrage. Everybody, you know what I'm talking about. One person does something, they get canceled. Somebody else does the exact same thing. No, you know what I'm talking about. You know, like the kind of people that play Michael Jackson songs, but won't play R. Kelly.
Yeah. I mean, that's that's Chris Rock comedy. I don't know how that's so huge. I get the humor. I don't know. Did Chris Rock mature with the times, or is he kind of he's got like a boomer mentality? Um. Anyways, so that was Chris Rock, right? You could tell there's jokes in there. What's up, Dusty? Good to see you. Primal Screams. Good to see you. I think I'm gonna have to dislike this video because of the thumbnail. Oh, we're gonna get into the thumbnail. We're gonna. I should have done a Tony Hinchcliffe thumbnail. But just the stuff Donald Trump said today is jarring. Uh, but here is Tony, what's his name? Hinchcliffe, man of the people. That I think is the funniest joke I've heard Tony Hinchcliffe say. He's a man of the people who sold those people out to Donald Trump. You know, man of the people, but his comedy is all about punching down. And his promotional thing for Netflix, right? This is what Netflix is promoting. I've searched YouTube, Reddit, online. Well, I went to Netflix, Trying to think where else I've searched. Twitter. I've searched everywhere. And this comedy special that came out over a week ago is not clipped. This is the only promotional video you can find. What I'm about to play for you. And it's stunning because there's no joke in it. It's just not, it's not a joke. It's just him talking about making jokes, which there's a big difference. Usually when you go to a comedy show, you don't want people to be like, listen, man, we've all made jokes about these people, and people want me to make jokes about these people, but I'm not gonna do it, and then, well, I'll play it for you. But remember, there's a difference between telling jokes and making people laugh and telling people that you tell jokes. That's not comedy, and telling jokes is comedy. So it's so weird when I'm like searching for clips because again, I don't want to have to watch the whole Tony Heathcliff, cryptocurrency cowboy at the mothership special. I just don't. I don't. And I can't find any clips. They're all this. What I'm about to play for you from Tony Hinchcliffe is the clip of his special that Netflix, a gazillion-dollar company, watched the whole thing and said, this is what we're going to use to promote it. Not one joke that I'm holding up one. Oh, look at that. Tony's as small as my finger. That's cute. Uh, he doesn't tell one joke in the promotional material. Which, is that even a comedy special? Or are you going to what can we say about Tony? Are you going to what does he look like? Are you going to a regional casino manager's TED talk on cryptocurrency? I keep going back to cryptocurrency. He looks like a tech oligarch, a very little tech oligarch. You know, like, is this a TED talk given to you by a cattle rustler who struck it big in crypto and now wants to share his trading secrets? Or is this a comedy special? This is nuts. So here is the promotional clip. Remember, Netflix watched Tony's whole thing and said, clip that and use that as promotion. You tell me, a tech smoligarch. A tech smoligarch. Yeah, CJ, we're going to go into inflation. I have audio of Donald Trump bragging about how much he loves inflation and then saying, once this war is over, which I thought we weren't in a war, or at least that's what some commenters say in my videos. What war? Oh, the war that Donald Trump's saying isn't over, even though I thought we had won that war, thought it wasn't a war, and now once the war is over. I'll play all that audio for you. But I really got to address this. Feifel goes west. Is he like the bad dude? Wasn't there a dude dressed in all black in Feifel Goes West? See the IRL Feifel Goes West character. We need to address Tony Hinchcliffe's promotional material for his special because this is not. It's just not comedy. This isn't like my opinion. This is just he's not telling jokes. He's telling you about how he tells jokes.
We've made fun of blacks, Latinos, the whites, the Indians, Asians. Thank you. I'd imagine if I were sitting where you are right now and I bought a ticket to a Tony Hinchcliffe show, I'd probably thinking to myself, Tony, where are those Jew jokes?
I'd be thinking, why are you telling me about telling me jokes and not just entertaining me? This is boring. Really? We've made like his whole premise here is like, you remember the 80s and 90s where they said white people do this and black people do that. Yeah, Tony, it's been around for a while. Why are we wasting our time on it? Go on, Tony, go on.
Well, I'm averaging about 4 specials a year with Netflix right now, and I'm not in the mood to make Jew jokes anymore.
Only on Netflix. Like, what the that was the promotional thing. Hold on, there's gotta be another clip. I swore I saw who clipped him. Someone clipped something. Let me try to find it. No. No, everything is we made fun of. We made fun of. Where is the... Come on, man. Come on. I can't believe you called it Man of the People. Like, dude, your whole comedy is about punching down on people who are different than you. That's it. That's it. Hold on. Let me see if I can find... Arby's won't even serve him. he looks he looks he looks like the manager at a Texas Arby's who's doing his first open mic set. Bitcoin is going to 35K before the next bull run. I expect the stock market to crash in the near future. Thank you for the insight. Oh yeah, the stock market is doing... Sorry about that. I wanted to try to grab some. My local news just said, "Oh, pedo Bill Gates is testifying in front of Congress." Oh, you know who just testified in front of Congress too? Epstein assistant Leslie Groff spilling the tea on Donald Trump and Epstein having phone calls set up. Let's see if this is it. Hold on. No, hold on. Let's see if this is what I was talking about.
I'd imagine if I were sitting where you were right.
Well, I'm being bought out by the Mossad and being blackmailed by Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm pro-Israel now.
I didn't realize. I didn't realize. I'm so sorry. I did not realize that he was he was getting clipped in that. All right, I can't play. If I find the other clip, I'll play it for you. But Tony Heathcliff Huxtable is got a new special out, folks, and in the promotional material, he doesn't talk about anything besides the jokes he's told before. All right, let's get into what's going on in the news. But before we do that, I just would like you take you back to 2024. Does anybody remember the year of our Lord 2024? Where is he? Here he is. Do you guys remember in the year of our Lord 2024, there was a campaign going on? Basically, the Democrats assigned Kamala Harris to be their puppet, or sorry, the corporate Democrats, the corporate-owned Democrats, and the Republicans are in a cult, so they don't get a choice. It's just Donald Trump every election. That's all that happens. It's Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. That's it. That's all they can run because little Marco had no chance. Big boots wearing Ron DeSantis down in Florida had no chance. So their best hope, Obi-Wan, the only hope, was the golden-haired, fat and greasy Farrah Fawcett. I mean Donald Trump. He was their only hope to finally fleece the citizens of their last pennies, and literally fleece them. Like they also got rid of the penny. But don't worry, they're gonna have a $250 bill. Who's excited for that? You know, to see wealthy people have it. You know, it's all just distraction stuff when they do things like that. But Donald Trump, I want to take you back to the year of our Lord 2024.
We will end inflation and make America affordable again. We're going to get the prices down. We have to get them down. It's too much. Groceries, cars, everything. We're going to get the prices down. But prices will come down. You just watch. They'll come down and they'll come down fast. Not only with insurance, with everything. So tomorrow I will end inflation. We will cut your taxes, end inflation, slash your prices. I will end inflation. End inflation. Slash your prices, to rapidly reduce inflation. I will end inflation very quickly. End inflation. Slash your prices. We will cut your taxes. End inflation. Slash your prices. So we're going to get your prices down.
Listen to those puppets cheer for him. Just every time I hear Donald Trump say he's going to end inflation, get those prices down, I think of Tim Dillon. I played the clip for you the other day. What day was that? Anyway, I'm not going to find the clip. But Tim Dillon said, the reason people elected Donald Trump is because he said these things and people believed him. And I thought, those people are stupid. And Tim, if you believe that, you're stupid as well. This guy, I mean, anyone could say anything. I could say, I'm ending inflation. Do you believe me, Tim? Do you believe me when I say I'm ending inflation, Tim? Are you that gullible? Hello to all round-headed humanity. Saludos a la todo la humanidad de cabeza redonda. I like that. What's he going to end? Is your ability to fix your own car. He's going to end your ability to participate in the inflated food costs. What's up, Duffy? Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Where's everybody? Everybody that's new here checking in. Where are you calling in from? Is that what they say? So I always think of Tim Dillon when I hear that. And now let's fast forward. That was the year of our Lord 2024. We're going to come to June 10th, 2026.
Per month, we got a jump of 0.5%. That was the expectation for May CPI. That's the headline number, 4.2% year over year. The headline number that was in line. That is a jump from last month's 3.8%. So it rose month to month, to be clear. This year-over-year headline number is the highest number we've seen since April of 2023. Core month over month, I will say, not quite in line, 0.2%. The expectation, 0.3%, pretty close, core month to month. And then 2.9% year over year for core May CPI. That was the expectation, 2.9%. Let me tell you what the government is saying, because again, it was the energy story that we saw last month. I will tell you the energy index did jump again month to month, 3.8%. But what the government is saying is that the 3.9%, jump for energy for the month of May is a core piece, and that is 60% of what we have seen in the increase that we're looking at in the market.
60% increase. Oh, is that affordability? Anyways, I wanted to show you that because that's from Fox News. Even Fox News doesn't know how to spin what the fuck is going on. They're like, hey, yeah, we're going to show you a lot of red on the screen. They have all the stocks and how far they're trickling down. I guess this is the trickle down they talked about. But now let's get into the president. The guy who said,
we will end inflation.
He said, we will end inflation. Now let's hear what he thinks about inflation.
So, about the latest inflation number, which came out this morning, could that be it? No, I love it. The numbers look great. You know what I really love? I love the inflation. You know why?
I love the inflation. Do you know why? Would we like to hear why? I have that clip too.
So, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number, which came out this morning, could that be it? No, I love it. The numbers look great. You know what I really love? I love the inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over, I can say it now. Something in it, but we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil. Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran until right now.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry to pause that. I love that he admits that, we're totally engaged in a war. I think he was denying it, if you don't know. I think he was denying it because Where is it? Where is my thing? Because they're committing war crimes. Thousands of Iranians left without water in searing heat after U.S. hits reservoirs. So in war, you can't destroy certain infrastructure that's going to affect residents. That's Geneva Convention war crime stuff. So I was thinking maybe they were trying to deny it's a war so they could do the war crimes. And when people tried to prosecute them for war crimes, they were like, it's not a war, not officially a war. So there hence be no war crime. Maybe, I don't know. I'm spitballing. What are your thoughts? I'm just thinking maybe that was one of the things why they denied it was a war. Why MAGA will jump in the comments and say this isn't a war. Is it to avoid the label of being a war criminal? Because they already have the label of criminal, 34 felony counts. So maybe that's what it is. I'm not sure. But let's hear the rest of how much Donald Trump loves inflation. I'll rewind it. And I think it's a little weird that if he was secretly stealing millions of barrels of oil from Iran, why would he announce that? If that's real, why would you say, and they don't even know it? Well, until now, until this airs, and then Iran's going to catch on to our little grift, to our little five-fingered discount on the oil. And by the way, if you are stealing all that oil, where's it going? Why are gas prices up 60%? What are you, hoarding oil on Epstein Island? Does Epstein Island just become an oil refuge now?
This morning. Could that be it? No, I love it. The numbers were great. You know what I really love? I love the inflation.
You know what I really love? I love the inflation. This is the same person.
We will end inflation and
We will end inflation. But do you know what I really love?
right. You know what I really love? I love the inflation.
He loves the inflation. He's going to end it, but now he can't because he loves it so much. When they said the inflation numbers, which again, that's not like the cost of how much things increased. It's the rate that they're increasing at. So like gas is up 60%, but gas is probably the overall rate of inflation in it is going at a different percentage. So it's a very confusing thing. And when I discovered that, I was like, that makes more sense. Because there's no fucking way that it's, 4 point whatever percent, but it's more than double, more than half of what it was before. So yeah, the guy who is going to end inflation now just loves it so much. How do you feel, Joe Rogan? How do you feel, Andrew Schultz? How do you feel, Tim Dillon? You should be a little embarrassed. You should go on your podcasts, Asmongold, whoever these people are, all these Trump supporters, even the backpedalers now. They should go on their podcast and go, I am so sorry. You should not trust me. I have an absolute lack of sense, lack of common sense, lack of being able to research simple things, and just take me as haha entertainment from now on. That's what they should be doing. And anything less, we won't tolerate. Shout out to Diaper Temple Donnie. Hold on one second. I got to do something. Bro decided to get a net tattoo and give people advice. Is that like your life take? People voted for a pedo. All right, here we are. It's so funny. Like, I'm not going to address open source anymore. I don't know if you guys in the comments want to, but everybody comes in and talks about being homeless or jobless. Like, that is the American poisonous mindset. They think if you're homeless or jobless, you have nothing to give to the world. And I had to do this yesterday. I'm just tired of doing it, but open source, nobody gives a shit. Okay. uh Most of these CEOs are basically jobless. They just sit at the top of a pile of money. They don't do shit. But you think like status in life is about a home and a job? Go to a graveyard. I want you to go to a graveyard and I want you to walk around the graveyard. And I want you to look at how many names underneath the names, instead of saying father, brother, sister, husband, mother, wife, beloved, whatever. I want you to see how many things say hard worker, owned a home. Like, dude, you're very short-sighted. You know what I mean? And it's kind of pathetic because it's not original. And people come in and do it all the time. And I'm like, God damn, man. Is this how stupid Americans are? They're just like, hey man, you must not have a job. You have a tattoo. The fuck? Like the president, this guy, his wife is a Slovenian whore, whored out by Jeff Epstein. She's a fucking immigrant on an Epstein Buddy 1 visa, an EB Buddy 1 visa. The first lady is a whore who starred in like Maxim magazine. And you're like, oh, you have a tattoo, you must not have a job. Dude, whores are in the White House. Absolute foreign whores. Like, not even high class speak of the English foreign whores, you know? Melania is like broken English, me love you long time foreign whore in the White House. And your thing is, you have a tattoo, you must not have a job. How could you give people advice? Dude, Melania Trump fucking had a presidential campaign called Be Best. They didn't even run it through AI to be like, does this even make sense? Is she speaking broken English? Are we misinterpreting her? You know? And this is what you do? Jesus, man. This is why I can't do it. Because I'm like, you are so fucking dumb. I haven't met people this stupid since the internet was invented, man. You know? I don't know this people this dumb in real life. I just don't. And maybe that's a personal choice. But goddamn. Goddamn, it's funny. But open source, you had your moment. Maybe Trump promised no new wars. Yeah, how's that going for everybody? How's that going for everybody? You know? And Coke in the White House. That's right. DJT's got a little problem. Meanwhile, the Netherlands, more and more people go to work 32 hours in 4 days. That's amazing. Also, did you guys see the news about Mexico? They cut their work week from 48 hours to 40, gave workers protections against any kind of decrease in pay, because they also implemented a law that once workers are off the clock, they can just ignore their bosses, which it's progress. And that's all we want to see is progress. Meanwhile, the United States gas prices are 60% more expensive than just a couple months ago. Everybody's losing their health care. Jobs are just fucking rare if existing anymore because AI and the tech oligarchs are uh, gutting everything. The elites like this guy are just trying to gut all of the social services so our tax dollars are strictly spent on his vanity projects like whatever it is, you know, whatever it is, UFC fights, helicopter flyovers, Epstein Memorial ballrooms. Like our tax money shouldn't be spent for any of that shit. Wars in Iran, the War of Hormuz. Like this is crazy, man. Absolutely bananas. Um And did you see? I couldn't believe that this was a real tweet. A real tweet. I gotta find it. Because this dude is just stupid. Where is it? Where is it? Where's the real tweet from Don the Trump? Here it is. Here it is. Sorry. So Donald Trump tweeted yesterday, U.S. trade deficit widens by the most in nearly 34 years. We'll walk through this. But Brian Krasenstein, who I don't like, Trump literally just celebrated a massive increase in our trade deficit. He doesn't even know what a widening of our trade deficit means. He thinks it means that we are exporting more than we're importing, which would be good, but it means the exact opposite. Not necessarily, this is kind of true, what he's saying. But to go a little more into depth, so the key metrics and drivers of a trade deficit, right? This, where is it? Down here. This down here tells you a lot. The drivers of our imports, or actually before I get into this, let's go here. A trade deficit can mean citizens are wealthy enough to purchase more goods, right? That's not what it means. That is not what it means. If you've heard any of the clips I've played for you, they're talking, the White House and their representatives are saying, hey, consumers are spending more. They're taking more out on credit card loans. They're paying for groceries with buy now, pay later. Credit card debt is an all-time high. We are racking ourselves with debt for the bare essentials, not for any kind of luxuries. There's more and more people, 70% of Americans are paycheck to paycheck, and more people are just getting by on credit for essential things. So this is not what it is. Americans are not wealthier. And I'll just prove that with, hold on. Let's just look at this real quick. Inflation 4.2% in May for the past year. Wage growth 3.4%. Now you don't have to be Will Hunting to figure out this math, but we've erased any kind of wage gains. So what that means is everybody got a pay cut. Every worker, not people with passive income, not the capitalists. That's not you. Not the people who just wake up making money just existing because of inheritance or owning everything. But the workers, you have a wage. I have a wage. We have a wage. And we all scream for some kind of relief. So all of our wages are not worth the things we need to buy. We're drowning. That's what this says. So now, back to explaining Donald Trump's absolute stupidity of tweeting like this, like it's a good thing. Like you don't want to brag that this deficit widens the most in nearly 34 years. It's not a good thing. I'll show you why. So it is not because we're wealthy enough to purchase more goods. The foreign capital inflows. Countries are not investing in America. If you paid attention for the past 2 years, America has gone on the offensive to offend every trade partner, not only through tariffs, but also by Trump's petulant, tyrant, toddler rhetoric. You know, Canada 51st state, we're going to invade Greenland. We just took over Venezuela. What else? You know what I mean? Just the name calling and the debaucherous language that Donald Trump uses, which is not the art of the deal. You got to be slick and savvy to cut a deal. And then so those countries, sorry, are not reinvesting into America. Maybe they're reinvesting into like Donald Trump's Bitcoin, if that's still existent. Maybe they're investing in giving Donald Trump a plane. Maybe they're investing in Donald Trump properties, but they're not building factories here. They're not investing in any kind of infrastructure. Maybe they're buying all our land. Maybe Donald Trump's selling them all our land. Well, that's not really an investment for us. That means we paid them. Then economic expansion, right? During growth periods, businesses may import expensive capital equipment such as computer hardware for AI centers to expand their infrastructure. Well, if you know anything about that, this next part of the sentence is not going to ring true for you, which widens the deficit but boosts future productivity. Productivity for who? AI? Productivity for what? Using up all our water and electricity? We'll get to why this, again, is not a good sign of the widening trade deficit, sorry. Because if you've paid attention to the AI sector, it's all a bunch of layoffs. The workers are getting laid off, the AI is replacing them, and the data centers are going in your backyard to get rid of nighttime and to pollute your environment. The bad part of a trade deficit. Domestic job displacement. When cheaper imports flood the market, it can reduce demand for domestically produced goods, leading to job losses in specific manufacturing sectors. Well, we've been seeing a ton of job losses. And ironically, I think Donald Trump was the one that said we're going to bring back sweatshops to America so, we can put the kids to work or whatever he was hinting at. With the Republican state lawmakers that were trying to roll back child labor laws. So we know that manufacturing is hurting. We know that. Unsustainable debt. If a trade deficit is driven heavily by consumer borrowing, taking out credit cards so we can afford the shit we're importing, rather than productive business investment, it can lead to mounting foreign held debt and asset bubbles. Wealth inequality. While lower income households benefit from cheaper consumer goods, again, none of these consumer goods are cheaper because even when they're imported, we're not getting them for that price. We also have greedflation, where Walmart, Amazon, Target, Wendy's, what else? They've all said, we're not going to take this on the chin. We're going to jack up the prices. And they have been. They keep jacking up the prices. They don't have to. Look at their profits. If you see their profits and they weren't at record highs, then you'd be like, oh, they're not making much money. They're taking a loss right now. They got to jack up the prices more. And this is just, Econ 101. But they're making record profits. So it can widen inequality. So again, I walk you through all this to get you here, to show you that these import drivers, why we have a bigger trade deficit, is not only because all the stuff that Donald Trump does, but right now there's an AI rush and everything's being imported, and it's not to help the workers, the people who earn wages. So it is remarkable to see a man so stupid to brag about one of his other failures. Anyways, we were talking about jump scare. Sorry about that. Also, remember, this is the other crazy thing. Remember Donald Trump had a furry party at Mar-a-Lago? Remember that? So bananas, man. Dude had a furry party. Where's Joe Rogan when you need him to get upset about people using litter boxes? Strength doesn't come from what's easy for you. It comes from facing things you once believed are impossible. You may think that it's impossible to get us out of this condition, and I say there is a way, but it's a new way. We can't do what we've been doing. That's crazy talk. Check this out. The Texas House passed a porn bill to ban AI deepfake porn. Republican Greg Abbott vetoed it. Why do you think that? You know who Abbott's friends with? Elon, Joe Rogan. Do you know what Elon Musk is getting investigated for in the EU? His Grok AI deepfake porn. No wonder. Elon has a residence in Texas. Interesting that the governor would protect somebody who could be a potential criminal in his state. Here, let's do this. I forgot. I wanted to start with this. What's up, Rebecca? Charlie Kelly. They were litter boxes by the pool. There were? We should look. Let's check. Oh, yeah, I think I see. So look, there's a litter box right there. Oh, that's a big litter box. That's one you crawl into. That one's got the roof on it. Oh, yeah. Those golden tables are litter boxes. You go underneath. Charlie Kelly was right. I was waiting for you to get here, Charlie. Here we go. People's nasty reactions toward Pride Month is exactly why we have a Pride Month. Just in case you didn't know. Oh my God. I get it. I love Danny DeVito. He's a saint. The man's a saint. So I wanted to get you to understand this because I keep saying straight Pride Month stuff, and I'm like, yeah, this is why we need a Pride Month because nobody needs a straight Pride Month. Okay, nobody. You weren't oppressed. You weren't marginalized. You didn't fight for anything. You don't need a celebration. Calm the fuck down. It's really the exceptionalism of the American entitlement mindset. You know, nowhere else in the world are people as entitled as here in America. So just remember this. And thank you for triggering that memory for me, Charlie Kelly, that I needed to show this. Here, let's have a little fun. I haven't come to my decision. You come to yours. If animals could talk, which one do you think would be rude? Someone had to be played to clean those litter boxes. Ducks. Rebecca said ducks. Oh my God. I would have never in a million years. Cats. Yeah, cats. Little Oreo India. Good to see you. Steffelson said ducks too. Are you guys for real? Ducks would be rude? That's absolutely hilarious. I never thought ducks. That is so funny. Geese. Listen, those are the obvious ones, you know? Birds are smarter than Trump supporters. Good to see you, BCJ. Ferrets. Yeah, cats are the obvious one, you know? I was thinking, like, you know, I would imagine iguanas are very rude. I knew a kid who had an iguana. I just feel like as chill as they look, they are probably sassy assholes, you know? Iguanas. Either that or peacocks. I always figured a peacock. You know, always peacocking around. You know, just very rude. You'd be talking to them, they put up like a goddamn fucking fan that you flick out. And you're like, whoa, geez, okay, conversation over, peacock. I'm sorry. Larry the parrot. Chicken, super sassy. Chickens, I feel like more have a like a like a anxiety panic disorder. Whenever I see chickens, I'm like, oh man, those things look so anxious. They're the most anxious birds I've ever seen. Hold on, what did Charlie say? Polar bears. Oh, come on, 007 Gaming. I always figured polar bears were just very what would the word be? Like courageous. Polar bears always, they're like majestic. Like if I was Canada, I know they got the moose. I would have the polar bear on the state flag. Charlie Kelly, what about Republican Closeted Gay Month? Yo, we should, Charlie, once this channel gets big enough, we're gonna lobby the calendar. We're gonna go after the calendar lobby, or we're gonna lobby the calendar, big calendar, because I'm pretty sure you can get a day put on. You know how there's like today's like hug your friend day. Today is eat a hot dog day. 7-Eleven is free Slurpee day. I'm pretty sure you can pay or petition or lobby Big Calendar to get those dates, you know, to get something to be a day, like Talk Like a Pirate Day. I'm pretty sure all you got to do is lobby Big Calendar and they'll put it on there. So, you know, whenever we should do it on election day. Well, but that's always like a Tuesday. So we got to figure out a funny day, maybe Donald Trump's birthday. And we will struggle and lobby to get Republican closeted Pride Day on the calendar. I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I would say majestic. With polar bears, yeah, they're the beetle vultures from the Jungle Book. Vultures are actually pretty chill, believe it or not. I've seen a vulture. Yeah, they seem pretty chill. Roosters should be aggressive. There to protect the flock. Polar bears are the top of the food chain, so they have no reason to be cocky. No, not cocky, like courageous, like a majestic, like an ethereal being. Like they don't seem real. If you've ever seen any of the and let me know, what animal do you think would be rude if they could talk? If you've seen, there's that guy who goes in the polar bear cage and the polar bear comes up and is like sniffing him and clawing at it. They're so huge, it's almost surreal. I think besides the grizzly, or a polar bear is bigger than a grizzly. Let me find that out. Hold on. Which is bigger? Polar bear or Kodiak? Polar bears are significantly bigger than grizzlies. Okay. All right. Oh, damn. They stand at 10 feet tall. A polar bear stands at 10 feet tall. They're only 5'2" when they're on all fours, but when they stand up, they're taller than a basketball hoop. That's what I mean. Like that kind of raw power. That's like what Joe Rogan wishes he was. Damn. That is, I didn't know that they were 10 feet tall. That kind of scares me. I couldn't imagine seeing a polar bear and it stands up and you're like, oh man, I couldn't even dunk on that. That's crazy. Yeah, I just don't think I or most people understand. Just like how most people don't understand how much $1 billion is. I don't think most people understand the majesty in a polar bear. And why wouldn't we want to save the ice caps, you know? Why wouldn't we want to try to preserve that legacy? They literally like human meat. They will hunt people. Oh, my pixies are here. I reckon a raccoon would be rude. I can see that. It's just they're too criminally cute. Raccoons have this adorability factor. Like raccoons have riz, you know? They're such a freak of nature. They have little human hands, a bandit mask on, and they go into your garbage. My brother, when at one place he was living, he'd send me these videos from his security cams of the raccoons like going into his garbage and pulling out like an empty pizza box. And I was like, that is the funniest shit. Like other animals must watch raccoons and be like, what are these knuckleheads getting into? The raccoons must be like, dude, we have thumbs. We are so versatile. They wash their hands too. Come on, smoknblondie. What's up, Jess? Good to see you. Sim racing. Raccoons can wash their hands. Now listen, I don't like raccoons. Do not get me mistaken. I don't like these creatures. If I seen one of them, most of those oversized ferrets or groundhogs with adorable tails, I'm not a fan of, you know, the Animalia rodentia or whatever the scientific classification is for those kind of like capybaras. You know, I know people think they're cute, but to me they're just big rats. You know, ain't a fan. Ain't a fan of it. No siree. That's like if a rat evolved into a dog, you'd get a raccoon, you know? But I can admit, I can be honest with you, they are absolutely criminally adorable because they're little criminals. How can you not love? And that's why I don't think they'd be rude, because a raccoon, to be nature's criminal, you got to be slick. You know, you have to be the absolute savviest of the animal kingdom to figure out when these people go to sleep, we're going into their trash, and that's how we're getting food. You know, you're operating on a different level. You got some criminal mind intellect there. Ferrets are apex predators? Oh, I did not know that. Freaking possums. Possums have to be rude. Absolute. Who would faint, right? You're talking to a possum, and it just plays dead. You're like, oh, goddamn, so rude. You can just say, conversation over, I've got something to do. You know what I mean? Possums are also in my cool category. I do not like possums. I don't like how they look. I don't like their tail. The only possum I like is the one in the Fantastic Mr. Fox, because he's a freak show. He always does that thing with his eyes. Bobcats. The meanest animal I've ever encountered were badgers. Well, you know, the honey badgers don't give a shit. Wasps, unnecessarily rude fucks. Yo, that is true. You know what I wish was rude, but I know they're not. Butterflies. I love butterflies. But how funny would that be if they could talk? And they're just like, God damn, these humans, man. Absolutely always taking photos of us and pinning us to like their cork boards. Hate these motherfuckers. Moths, yeah. What about the wasp that kills spiders? Oh my god, 007. Have you seen? There was some crazy video. I think it might have been in Australia. It had to be in Australia. Of this family catching one of those wasps that kills spiders. It messed me up. That was almost worse than watching a horror movie. Spiders are friends. Not to all. Well, they could be friends, but they're very terrifying. Toddlers are rude. Those little animals. But they are weirdly actually good in medicine. New World screwworm eaten rotten first. Oh, really? Some wasp and hornet make honey too. Really? Wasp and I didn't think wasp or hornets made honey. I have wee jumping spiders. Yeah, those ones are adorable. I'll give you that much. All right. Here we go. I love seeing this. This is an old tweet. And someone was like, why is he eating with his hands? I don't know. Easier. Save it on plastic. Doesn't want to do the dishes. Why was Trump eating with Jeff Epstein? That's the real question you need to ask. You know, I love these short-sighted mothers trying to one-up everybody. Why is he eating with his hands? Okay. Now, for some more news, U.S. military said it began launching self-defense strikes. If you could see the map, I don't know how defensive those are for the U.S., but it's interesting language. Interesting language that you always have to be weary of. Again, war crimes being committed as we speak. As we speak. Thousands of Iranians left without water and searing heat as the U.S. hits reservoirs. You are not allowed to in war. That's why I was wondering if Donald Trump, you heard him today. I played the audio for you today. Hold on, I'll play it for you.
Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be a no? I love it. The numbers were great. You know, I really love that. I love the inflation. You know why?
Wait.
Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest? As soon as this war is over.
There we go.
The inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over.
He admitted we're in a war. We didn't win because it wouldn't have to be over. And they can't play coy. Well, they still will. That this is not a war and we've already won it. So now that we have that on tape, can we charge him with war crimes? Or does America not do that ever? Except for, you know, when it wasn't us. Except when it wasn't us. Can we bring back like the Nuremberg thing again? You know, the Hague, like, because he's admitting there's a war, and then, you know, this news hits, and if you know anything about what you can't do in war, by the international rule of law, remember Maggie used to say law and order, you can't be wiping out residential water reservoirs. You can't do that. No. You know, those residents are not enemy combatants. They're not. No matter what the news tells you, there are women, children, men, brothers, sisters, daughters, families, the elderly, disabled. They're just like us, folks. They want to get up, not have to go to work. You know what I mean? I'm sure in Iran, there's somebody saying, you got a case of the Mondays, just in their own cultural way. And our media circus desensitizes us to comprehending that there's just kids that want to go home from school, you know, hang out, veg on the couch for a little bit, and then have supper with their parents. That there's a dad suffering a heartbreak. There's you know, a college student hoping to finish her degree. These people are just like you and me, in a different part of the world with a different culture, a different language, but it makes them no different or any less valuable. And now these people have to suffer because America is committing war crimes. Read up on HB 8800, please. Thank you for the $2 super chat, Jess. I'm supported by viewers like you, Mr. One Boston. Hello. And I support, and I'm very grateful and humble for your support. And thank you to everybody who has hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and supports the channel. Hold on. Let's what is it? HB 8800. Hausberg HB 8800. Wait, what? A heater? I don't think. No. Legiscan 119 Congress. All right, bipartisan bill introduced May 13th, 2026 to authorize appropriations for fiscal year 2027 for military activities of the Department of Defense, for military construction, and for defense activities of the Department of Energy, to prescribe military personnel strengths for such fiscal year and other purposes. Are you going to let me? Here's the summary. Okay. Who introduced this bill? Rep. Rogers and Mike D. Alabama. Already got me worried. Let's see. Does it tell us? All right. I'm just gonna. It's not breaking it down for me. I'm trying to read. Oh, let's see if this one will give it to me. Here we go. Mr. Rogers of Alabama, not the Mr. Rogers that everybody is beloved. Oh, hold on. Oh, my Pixie, thank you for the super chat. Catch you later, my dude. Much love. Thank you for the super chat. I'm very grateful for the support. Caterpillar's End, of course. It gives Israel control of our military. Oh, I've been hearing about that. I haven't dove into it. Title 1, procurement. Funds are authorized. Title 2, research, development. Title 3, operation and maintenance. Let's see. This is very vague. 3 pages? All right, you're right. We're going to have to do a little deeper digging. Acquisition policy. Bill has redrawn debate over proposals to restrict corporate stock buybacks for defense contractors that run over cost and over schedule. Oh my God. So they're going to let defense contractors do stock buybacks now? What the just so you know, stock buybacks were illegal until 1982. After the great stock market crash, they outlawed them because stock buybacks are just artificially inflating the value of your company. It adds no actual material wealth to your company, but it does enhance the compensation packages of those who are mostly paid in stocks. So what a stock buyback is a company will take a lot of their profits, buy back their own stock, which shoots the stock price up. This company didn't invent anything new, didn't come out with a new product, isn't meeting Wall Street's expectations, and this was a general vibe of the stock rising. This is them artificially buying back their own stock, inflating the price. And then I would imagine there's some not so above board activities going on when they're taking out loans or whatever for the people like CEOs who are getting their compensation through stock buybacks. And that's why they were illegal forever, because America was just like, yeah, you can't just artificially inflate your stock like that and then like dip the out or whatever. But Reagan and his economic policies legalize them again. And that's why you see major companies. You could just Google this. I bring it up when when they're happening, because they happen at certain times. But think of all of the biggest companies out there. They're spending hundreds of millions, if not sometimes up to billions over a few years of stock buybacks. And that's just to enrich themselves. That money could be invested back into the companies. It could be to give workers pay, like I was telling you. Essentially the wages have not kept up with inflation, so our money is worth less, our wages are worth less, we don't have the buying power, and purchasing power is essential for the economy. Our economy runs 70% of our economy is on consumer purchasing power, our ability to buy stuff. And that's why when you hear things like, oh, they're taking out credit cards to buy groceries, that's really bad, because that means we don't have the money and we got to rely on debt. And that debt can only go so far, and you can't keep accruing. Well, I guess America as a country can, 39 trillion. So it's essential that the workers, and this is why when people are like fighting against people just having a living wage, $66 an hour, just a living wage, just enough to buy a home, buy a car, maybe go to school and feed yourself. That's what you need to survive in this economy. When people are against that, you don't understand the whole economy is suffering because of your short-sightedness, your lack of understanding, but also your hatred for your common man. Because when people do have money, what do? Start businesses, they can purchase stuff, they go out to dinner, right? All the things that keep the economy flowing. And when that money is siphoned to the top and it's hoarded by just a few people, or even worse, when the companies that are doing stock buybacks, instead of doing stock buybacks, if they were reinvesting in their workforce, everybody gets a raise to outpace inflation, to keep up, so you can buy cereal. When they do that, people have more money and the economy keeps functioning. I have always, before I dove into this and really tried to comprehend like what the fuck is going on, you can read about this stuff too. The one common thing that never made sense to me was like, well, if workers aren't going to get paid more and prices are going to keep rising, right? Because I would always ask people, they say inflation just happens over time. Things are going to cost more. I said, how come the cost of labor doesn't rise over time? Minimum wage since 2009 federally in America has been $7.25. Why shouldn't that naturally increase? If everything else is gonna, like, this just doesn't, on its face, it doesn't make sense. If people can admit and say it's Econ 101, take an Econ 101 course, that inflation just naturally happens, things are going to get more expensive, then why will the cost of labor not naturally increase? It doesn't. And that's on purpose. That's by design. And we're living in it right now. We're living in the repercussions of that, the ripple effect of that. But more importantly, what I never understood is if the people who live in the communities, who go to the stores to buy things, if they have money, they can buy things. When they don't have money, they can't buy things. That's a simple fact, right? Why are these companies hoarding all the money? Why do we have billionaires? They can't go to all of your communities and make sure your local butcher and baker and fucking farmer stay in business. They're just hoarding the money. Why are these companies doing stock buybacks to make themselves richer? That doesn't trickle into our communities. That does nothing for us. And that's what has consistently happened. So much so that we're at like this apex of it, where the wealth gap has never been fucking bigger, where they're talking about having a trillionaire. And people still will say shit like, well, they worked hard enough. It's like, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. But more importantly, do you support local business? Because if you support local business, you want workers to get paid more, because then they can support local business. Because that local business, I hate to break it to you, the Walmart heirs, the Waltons, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, they're not going to your little mom and pop shop to keep that company afloat. They're not. They're doing the best they can to drive down prices and drive that company out of town, so they're the only one that exists. Hence why we have a Walmart in every fucking city in this country. But just when it comes to the simplicity of like, why don't you want people to have enough money to not struggle and be able to purchase not even a luxury, but something that isn't a necessity? Why is that only reserved for the upper echelons in America? Why is it only reserved for people to not starve if they've worked hard enough? You know? And don't even get me started about the people that believe in Jesus, but also have this philosophy. Because Jesus wasn't like, you know, his fucking beatitudes weren't like, when you're born, you got to start working. And then you be best at your work. And if you be working hard enough, then you could be fed. You know, those weren't Jesus's beatitudes, man. And it just makes me sad that the Joe Rogans, the Andrew Schultz, the Tim Dillons, the lamestream media that's owned by right-wing billionaires, all of it, from CNN to CBS to Fox News to the Wall Street Journal to the Washington Post, they're all run by these absolute monster billionaires. And they're selling you a narrative to keep you either disengaged from what's really going on or distracted from it, to desensitize you to what has been normalized as this is just how it is. It's the way it is. It doesn't have to be like this, and it's not like this everywhere. Jesus was a socialist. Thank you. Burned friend. In Europe, regulations stipulate that the minimum wage must be a certain percentage of the average income. Interesting. And there's all sorts of ways to just tie minimum wage. I say tie minimum wage to the percentage growth of the tie minimum wage to the percentage growth of the average CEO package. Because CEOs have been making up to like 1,000% more over the past 10 years. So just tie it to how much CEOs are getting paid. And let's see, CEOs, you want to get paid that much? Okay, everybody at your company needs 1,000% raise. You know, I think if we directly tie those two, you know, fuck any noise about any salary, they'll find ways around it. You say, listen, whatever your stock compensation, your total compensation over the year, untaxed, unrealized gains, I don't give a shit. Whatever that is, we're tying the minimum wage to it. And every one of your employees will be on minimum wage. So whatever that growth is, if you just gave yourself a 368% raise, well, trickle it down, bitches. You know what I mean? Cage, the words capital, cattle, and chattel come from the Latin caput, meaning head. Capitalism is the counting of heads, people as cattle. Love you, Cage. Knowing someone. Truth. Maggots. Jesus was a woke liberal. Speak of truth, my friend, my man. Why, thank you. Nice beard. Why, thank you. Why, thank you. It's a manly beard so I could reach all the Joe Rogan fans. I should sell beard grease or some shit, you know? Hey, do you want your 100% bovine beard grease? Well, buy it now before it's all out. Either that or, you know, it's always so funny. Like when I was talking about Sean Ryan and he sells Vigilance Elite gummy bears. And he couldn't just sell gummy bears. You know, he couldn't. Sean Ryan, the very tough MAGA, now backpedaling podcast bro who's former military and a tough guy. He knows his audience real well. Because he can't just be like, hey guys, my gummy bears are for sale. You know, he has to be like, hey, listen, you want some Vigilance Elite gummy bears that keep you keep you vigilant while you're snacking on them at 2 a.m. watching fucking Ren and Stimpy or whatever, you know? But I think I go the opposite way. I sell manly stuff that's just too manly for even men, you know? Like it's 100% gelatinous bovine beard grease. And then I slap it on and rub it around and it just looks like a glob. And I'm like, this is how a real man, you know, back in the 1840s, this is how real men wore their beard with a whole clunk of grease in it. And people would be like, you got a little something there. And you'd be like, it's beard grease, bitches. Just to see if people will buy it. Tactical gummies. Oh, that's even better. Holy shit. I might sell tactical gummies. JS, thank you. Tactical gummies. Oh my God. So tactical. Sean Ryan, you missed a golden opportunity. My chat is much better than yours, buddy, because you went with Vigilance Elite Gummy Bears. Too long, and you kept the bears in there. Like, why did you keep the bears? You could have done Vigilance Elite Swords. you know, and all your gummies could have been sword shaped or something, you know, a nice phallic shape for your audience. Tactical gummies. That's what it is. And it'll just be like corn syrup. I'm targeting the MAGA horror. We'll do Mountain Dew Sunshine Blast tactical gummies. You know, for the guy who has a for the guy who has a gun holder for his PS5 controller. Oh, that's what I should sell. I should sell gun holders for PS5 controllers. Damn, I'd be good at this. I don't want to do it, but resistance gummies. There we go. Holy shit. Add caffeine. These people don't need cast iron kitty. These people don't need to be any more awake. No. We'll put melatonin in it. Holy shit. The anti-woke resistance tactical gummies with melatonin. Fight the woke. Fucking A, man. See? See the spitballing we're doing? See? The tactical gummies. Resistance to woke with melatonin. They'll keep you asleep. I love it. I love it. And estrogen. Everything is in the game. Yeah. You got to stay in the game, man. Get our tactical gummies. You're not going to be called woke ever. You just show them the bottle full of melatonin. Keep you right asleep. Sheep pill. And it comes with a free sheep mask. Makeup and wigs, cod pieces, and pantaloons. Yeah, that's real. I can't wait until they fully go just total grift. And they're like, we're selling muskets and pantaloons for the colonizer in you. Get your tactical musket now. Red pill. Holy shit, Charlie Kelly. That will be our other brand of we're gonna do tactical gummies and red pill gummies. Come on, YouTube, stop muting my channel. Show this to a few more people. This is too funny. I really want to do this. I gotta get a mock-up bottle made of red pill gummies. I'll just put a bunch of red Tic Tacs in there. They put chemicals in the gummies that turn the freaking... Oh my God. I gotta do an Alex Jones style podcast. I'm like, all right, guys. Oh yeah, I got some new news for you. This is gonna be pretty decimating to all of you hard beardos out there. Okay, hate to break this to you, but if you went to a Republican convention in the past 2 to 20 years, and you would buy any red pill gummies there, it turns out they're putting chemicals in the red pill gummies, in Joe's ibogaine gummies, his tactical elite gummies that are turning all the Republicans gay. It was not your fault. We're filing a class action lawsuit against Joe Budden, and we're going to file this to ungay everybody. And that's really what this all comes down to. So if you were one to download Grinder and you didn't know why you were doing it, and then you went on a late night escapade after one of these GOP conventions, call us now, because the Red Pill Tactical Elite Resistance Gummies, they have chemicals in them. Frogs aren't gay anymore. It is the Republicans. And we're going to fix that problem, but right now you got to buy my colloidal silver and methylene blue. It's the only gay defense you have. I could just sell a liquid that's called gay defense. And I'm pretty sure it would take off, you know. Are you trying to stay hyper vigilant with all this woke media seeping into your brain? You're watching Buzz Lightyear, stoned out of your mind. Call of Duty banned you for saying too many slurs. And that Buzz Lightyear got you questioning a few things. Got a little rise in the pantaloons that we sold you. You know, your musket fired. Well, don't worry. Buy my gay defense now. Filled with vitamins and minerals. Straight from the heart of the Texas wells, where there are no gays here. Just ask my man Joe Rogan. in his very short shorts, which he always takes pictures of him with other men in, and then does ice baths while he records it for other men to watch. The least gay, no homo man there ever was. Rebecca, oh, they would buy that for sure. Oh my God. Oh, blue brainworm gummies. Yo, I think we have a whole line of gummies. We do the blue brainworms, methylene blue brainworm gummies to protect you from screwworm. We do the red pill gummies, and of course we do our tactical gummies for that everyday gamer who's keeping on his toes, though he hasn't seen them in a while. We live in the most closeted timeline. 100, yo, that is so true, Stevels. It really is. Listen, I gotta find the picture. I gotta find the picture. Oh, that's not it. Most closeted timeline. That's not it. Although it does look like an extra in Brokeback Mountain. You know, just didn't get the lead part. He was the ex-boyfriend in Brokeback Mountain. He's the one who broke Heath Ledger's heart and sent him after Jake Gyllenhaal or whatever his name is, you know. He broke Heath Ledger's heart, sent him into those mountains to find Jake Gyllenhaal. You know, I'm sure his next special he'll do, what is it, Heated Rivalry? You know, he'll move up to Canada to avoid prosecution or something. To get away from the woke. And probably before that, sweet, sweet universal health care. And then his next special will be filmed in Canada, and he'll dress like the guys in Heated Rivalry. I haven't seen that movie, but it's about gay hockey players, right? He'll be walking around on skates like, hey, I'm Canadian. Look at me. He's instead of a glass of water, instead of a water bottle on the side of his thing, he's drinking maple syrup. Absolute pandering to the crowd. Hold on. Let me show you the gayest timeline. The most closeted timeline photo we have. And Donald Trump graced us with it. We can only be very thankful. Very grateful for this. Because like I could not have came up with this, you know? There's no way. I would have never in a million years would I have thought of this photo. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. I couldn't, like, this is such pure comedy, because if I was like, do a homoerotic closeted picture of Donald Trump wearing a leather-bound helmet uh, for a football game with American Speedos on, with a bunch of shirtless, muscular men cheering him on in the background. But, you know, like, I would have done that and thought that was funny. The twist here, the M. Night Shyamalan twist here is he was like, put me on a soccer field and have me holding two balls, basketballs. This is the funniest shit ever. This is the funniest thing ever. it's, it's obscene that, like, you know, we went from what? Obama wearing a tan suit and that being like headlines, like, I want a disgrace to the office, to Donald Trump tweeting out the gayest photo ever. And people being like, that's my macho man, you know? Oh, Stephenson, have you not seen that? Have you not? Happy Pride. That's what I said. Wait, have you not seen? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take it down. Let's all enjoy. By the way, just so everybody knows where we stand. People's nasty reactions toward Pride Month is exactly why we have a Pride Month. Remember that. And you would think, you know, with a picture like that, you'd think this man was fully embracing Pride Month. But no. But no. Yeah, just take it in. Enjoy that. Enjoy that the president of America, like, this is one of the reasons why I don't think we recover. Because with the president like this, like, you don't gain credibility back, you know? Never mind that this is a very closeted photo. We're talking about, like, yo, the rest of the world is like, didn't you invent basketball? Like, the 1900s or something. James Naismith in Springfield, Massachusetts. Didn't America invent basketball? How the fuck are you wearing some football stuff holding a basketball, man? On a soccer pitch or whatever they call it. This is bananas. That alone. Never mind the rest of the picture. Like, dude, if you can't get the sports right, you don't gain that credibility back. You sound like a kid first trying out for the team. He's like, do I shoot a field goal? Or do I kick it? You know? And they're like, this is basketball, man. What the fuck are you talking about? Bananas. He forgot he's supposed to hide his gayness. I just think it's the dementia. It's the dementia keeping him from realizing how gay he actually sounds. You know, like when I played that clip where he's like, I bought these, you see these golden curtains? I handpicked these out, when he's bragging about how he interior designed the White House. And I was like, dude, what is this? What the fuck are we watching? The president's talking about picking out curtains and how he's the best interior designer. All the balls. Yeah, that's the other thing. There's a lot of balls in that photo, man. It's Skins versus him. He's like, all right, boys. I'm sure it's your Skins. Now tackle me. They're like, what game are we playing? He's like, let's just tackle me. He's like, the game is called Tackle Me. The balls are relevant. That's why we're on the grass. The drapes. That's right. He called them the drapes. This motherfucker called the curtains drapes. Yo. Like an old queen, you know, like an old queen who's owned her home forever and wants to tell you about how she one time bought these drapes from Versace, you know. He called them drapes. I'm sorry, that's too funny. Drapes is just a funny word and I never use it. Sorry. I do not mean to keep hitting that photo. My apologies. I do not keep meaning to hit that photo. Oh my God. All right, let's see what else is going on. I'm sorry, I got very distracted. Where is my... Here we go. No, that's not it. Hold on. No, that's not it. Where's my thing? Where's my thing, man? Oh, I forgot I did that. Okay, I found it. Jump scare. All right, give me 1 second. I gotta find this image because I want to show you this dude. I don't think I deleted it. Wanted to play this audio the other day. And I didn't get to. Oh my God, did you guys see this? These are the new Amazon robots that are being rolled out to replace workers. And if you don't know, the reason why I thought this was hilarious, because number one, that's not going to replace a worker. I'm sorry. This is just not going to. You know, what has it got? Tentacles? How's it going to replace a worker? Anyways, but you know, Amazon a long time ago bought the vacuum company Roomba. You know the Roomba? They look exactly like that. And they go around your house and just vacuum and then go back to their charger. And Amazon didn't buy Roomba because they thought it was a good investment. They bought Roomba so they could track the size of your house and customize your feed on Amazon to things that would better suit your specific domicile. So Amazon basically bought Roomba as a tracking device and a surveillance device, a very subtle surveillance device. So if you've recently bought a Roomba from Amazon, just know it's measuring, you know, your floor plan to better sell you shit. And I thought it was hilarious that instead of like actually investing in any kind of AI robot, Amazon just said, let's just make a Roomba bigger. You know, the guy with all the money in the world, he's going to space, and his plan for AI automation starts with the Roomba. That's what this is. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if this thing couldn't also vacuum while it worked. And if you didn't know that, Alexa, Roomba, drive into puddle. There we go, Lemony. Yeah, if you didn't know, I remember somebody got us an Alexa, and I wouldn't let anybody plug it in. And then I think I tried to give it to somebody else. I was like, "You think I'm having a Jeff Bezos recording device in my house? No, thanks." Same with the Roomba. Not allowed. Not allowed. And you can look this stuff up. This isn't like my theory, you know. I just happen to read too much sometimes. But yeah, Amazon owns the Roomba to scan your floor plan. His spaceship blew up. Yeah, Ashley, did you see that? Oh, I forgot to get a very expensive pallet. Yeah, that's all that is. I'm like, good luck firing the workers who are going to put stuff on that. Okay. His spaceship blew up. I thought it blew up at takeoff, and then my buddy who lives down there showed me the video, which was insane. And then he showed me the alerts. If you live in Florida, you might have got an alert with a number to call if you find any pieces of Jeff Bezos' explosion near you. That's insane. I refuse to have anything smart connected in my house. There are some smart devices that I like. What's up, Jimmy Backhand? What's going on? To the real patriots. We're just talking about Jeff Bezos' new AI Roomba, which is going to replace workers. The vision for the future is amazing. Just regurgitating old stuff and trying to sell it as AI. This was another story that I wanted to show you. On what feed is this? Oh, Sugar Ray Leonard. I forget what feed. On one of the feeds in, is it Meta? I forget. I think it's Meta. One of these companies is generating its own AI clickbait news articles. So it's just having AI create news and put it out there to get clicks, right? Because clicks mean they can monetize, they can turn around and sell how much exposure their website, their, you know, whatever it is gets. And in turn, with the more clicks, you can get a higher click rate when you're selling ad time in between those things. So this is a little dystopian because if you could see, this says a royal butler finally settled the milk first debate, which is not a debate. This article is from the UK. This is not a debate. The debate, essentially, if you read the whole article, it talks about, do you put tea in first and then the milk, or milk in first and then tea, which has never been a thing. We don't say what came first, the chicken or the egg, or the milk or the tea. But this is what AI, you know, regurgitated out to create an article. And then it kind of goes into gibberish, to be honest with you. Like the articles and the dude who, let me see if I have the other one. And the dude who's explaining this. Oh wait, that's a different one. Sorry. I don't know what happened to the other part of this. Explains like how it just kind of becomes an AI hallucination once you further read the article, and how dystopian it is. So be on the lookout, because now not only are there more bots on the internet, I told you about that story, but AI is now just generating its own clickbait news, which is like, is this what everybody saw AI doing? You know, putting journalists, reporters, editors, the whole news staff out of work so it can tell you a royal butler finally settled the milk first debate. You know, this was a scary story. Average car on the road now is 13 years old, a record high and 10% jump from a decade ago, as Americans hold on to their vehicles far longer than before, plus they probably don't want to kill switch on them. Sticker shock is a big driver. The average new vehicle now costs around $50,000. I'm pretty sure that's about the average, you know, income in America for a single adult. A car cost 1 year's pay. Oh my God. Anyways, roughly 10,000 more than just 6 years ago. High interest rates, sturdier engineering, and drivers see little reason to upgrade. Sturdier engineering, you can definitely say that. When someone tries to sell you a car with bulletproof glass and then they do a demonstration of how you could break it with a rock, I would say that's bad engineering. The shift is we're making the industry. Dealers are adding repair bays, free cappuccino, and mobile mechanics since fixing car now drives roughly half their gross product. Even Ford is running ads urging owners to service, not replace. No one can afford cars anymore. I can't wait till the next election when, never mind egg, we've all just adapted to drinking brown water. And people are like, we can't afford cars to get to work for our AI overlords, you know, and they're all living on Epstein Island Part 2. And they're like, we don't care, suffer in pain. The Epstein class is telling you how much they don't care. Okay, here's the photo of the dude I wanted to show you. I'm going to play his audio, and he makes a very fascinating point. Check this out.
30 years old. Not one of my friends had children. Zero. No one. No one's having kids. Do you know how hard you need to abuse a mammal to make them not have children?
Did you hear what he said? He's 30 years old, and no one he knows is having kids. Not saying that's run of the mill, but you see this as a right-wing talking point. You see Elon Musk, Joe Rogan talk about the falling birth rates, XYZ, right? And I don't know what they blame it on. I really think what they mean is falling white people birth rates, especially when I hear Elon Musk say that. And he never ties it to like people can't afford to live, so why would they want to have a dependent, someone to depend on them when they can't even depend on themselves? Again, just basic shit. Don't need to take an economy class. This just makes sense. Like if I can't afford to support myself, why would I choose to bring in another life that I can't support because I can't support myself? This guy has a very interesting take where he says, I'm 30 and nobody I know is having children. And then he goes on to say, do you know how hard you have to abuse a mammal to not make it want to reproduce? Think about that. This is what has been going on for decades in America. Not just the mental abuse, but physical abuse of the working class, of people who earn a wage and struggle to get by, take out loans, die in debt, can't afford their health care, can't afford better schooling. Everything is gate kept, and more they're being laid off and phased out to hopefully be replaced by robots, while those same people replacing them with robots are saying these robots are going to lead to your prosperity. And I say, when? Just your actions are showing me that these robots aren't prosperous for anybody besides you guys. And that's a bubble too. So really think about that. And anytime you hear one of these Joe Rogans say the birth rates are falling, just ask them if they know how hard you have to abuse a mammal to make them not want to reproduce.
Not one of my friends had children. Zero. No one. No one's having kids. Do you know how hard you need to abuse a mammal to make them not have children? Like for real. Let's step here back a moment, right?
Roadie Guy Tom was talking today about how this is on my mind a lot lately. The fact nobody realizes we are badly abused by a ruling class. Wages are not going up even close to the cost of living. No, in the news today, I was showing you, we'll get back to this audio. The news today, which is really, really horrifying, is that inflation has wiped out any pay gains. So if you thought you were coasting along and you're like, I'm still making enough to, get by and afford egg. I can't get a new car and I'm certainly not buying a Roomba, but I'm making it. Well, just wait, because you see how this yellow line of inflation is going up? And do you see how Donald Trump said inflation ain't ended until this war is over, and this war ain't ended?
No, I love it. The numbers look great. You know what I really love? I love the inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over, I can say it now.
As soon as this war is over, I can say, like, he's trailing off. But so he's telling you, as soon as the war is over, which have you ever known America to get out of a war pretty quickly? Anyways, this little line, that's the inflation, is going up. And the blue one, which shows wages, which if you work for a living, you earn a wage, is going down. It's going to get much worse. Much, much worse. So that is abuse, because this isn't something that isn't fixable. This is something that the ruling class has not only gutted any programs that could help us when we're struggling, but they've also siphoned our taxes for their vanity projects. And then who the politicians are ruled by are the elites, the ones who are hoarding all the money. And them hoarding all the money is not for good use. I saw a video of 2 billionaires racing their yachts, burning so much fuel that is so expensive right now. So they're doing shit like that, you know. They're buying islands, like you heard Ivana Trump do. They're making the Four Seasons Grand Bohemian Hotel, Trump Epstein 2, on some Albanian island. They're going to space. They're doing all the stuff that they just want to fulfill their dreams. You know, there's like 3,000 of them. And then there's another roughly 7 billion of us that are like, we just don't want to be homeless and want to eat food. And that's abuse. Because if we tax these billionaires so they're not billionaires anymore, the only thing in their life that would change is nothing. But if we reinvested into our communities and made sure there were support systems in place so no child went hungry in America, everyone got a decent education, everyone was guaranteed to a right to a job, and if you couldn't work or didn't want to work, you still had the necessities to live a life. Which that's just like, that's the bottom barrel. That's not radical. That's not woke. That's just saying people who can't work still deserve food, a home, fucking water, power, you know, all the things that you need to exist in the year of our Lord 2026. That's not a radical thought. That's not radical at all. That's just saying humanity has some inherent value, and we have an abundance of money and an abundance of resources, and it's only going to a few people. Rebecca, thank you for the Aussie $10. Put a shrimp on the barbie. Appreciate you. Very humbled, very grateful. And I'm supported by viewers like you. You can support the channel, super chats, Cash App in the app, or in the description, or just hit subscribe and the notification bell. I'm here every weekday. The Trump Island temple will literally be made of gold. Yeah, that's the other thing. He's decorating, whether it's fake or not. How do you feel in a cost of living crisis when he's saying, I love inflation?
You know what I really love? I love the inflation.
You know what I really love? I love the inflation. How does it make you feel that he's saying that with a fucking golden dome, basically? Everything is gold in the White House. There ain't a thing that ain't gold in the White House. While he's telling you he loves inflation. While you're struggling to get 3 bags of groceries for less than $100. The president, surrounded by golden motifs, golden picture frames, golden everything, is telling you he loves inflation. It is sickening. Child school debt. What's up, the Anacle? Yeah, just that language, that's uniquely American. It's been a grift since after World War II. That's right. Johnny, stick around and learn something. All right, let's play the rest of this audio.
Order it that way.
Yeah, look, GDP goes up. People have a lot of have enough food, you know, and whatever. No one's having kids, and this is across the world. This is across both the West, the East, you know, everywhere it's happening. So there's the thing that happens, especially with younger, like even younger than me. Like the kids are like 18 today. There's a huge problem where they don't dance. No one dances. They go to clubs and they don't dance. Why is this? Because you get recorded.
Yeah.
If you're an 18-year-old kid, you go to a club, you get recorded. If you approach a girl and you mess it up, you get recorded. Everything is panoptic on that. So if you had to ask me why, my answer is technology. My answer is social media. My answer is AI. My answer is algorithms. Do you know what dating app algorithms do? Do you know how they optimize? They don't optimize to you to meet your love of your life. They optimize to keep coming back to the app.
Yeah, yeah.
And now there's a thing that basically we have sold out all of our dating norms, all of our, you know, interpersonal norms, to tech companies without our consent to
Yeah.
optimize their ad algorithm.
Right.
I think there's a deep thing where we as a society have not dealt with the fact that we have to steward technology responsibly. We have treated technology as a wild west.
And to that point, and what Jimmy Backhand was saying, we say everyone should have equal rights, and here comes your ass saying, nope, y'all are loony. Get the out of here. That person that has that mindset of hearing me say that you, the person who's critiquing me, you deserve more. I'm saying your worth is inherent. Whether you get hurt on the job tomorrow and can't, insurance won't pay out, you can't get workers' comp because everything's stacked against you, you lose your health care, then you lose your home. Let's say you can't pay your mortgage, and then you struggle to feed yourself, and you have no family to go to, so you end up on the streets, right? It's a very common situation here in America. And what I'm saying is that should not exist in a wealthy nation where we have billionaires and soon to be a trillionaire, and people just go into space for the shit of it. And people that can hear me say that you deserve healthcare no matter what your income bracket is, no matter what your job is. You as a human deserve healthcare. The thing that we've culminated to this point as a collective, we have all, as a human race, contributed to the advancement of our sciences and health. And what this dude's talking about, these algorithms that are run by mostly far-right billionaire grifters who mean no good for you. You're not hearing them say the words I'm saying. Donald Trump might have said he wants to make things affordable, but then he also said, I'm going to end inflation. And today he's saying, I love inflation. You've been poisoned. The people that can hear me say you deserve healthcare, you deserve more money, so you have money left over every month. And irregardless of whether you go, well, I have a good savings account. It's coming for you. It's coming. If you have that mindset of like, well, this won't affect me, go read the poem by what's his name? That dude who said, first they came for the communists, and you're the one cheering. You're the one saying, I hate communists. Read the rest of the poem. Because seriously, if you don't understand that the people that it's affecting now, it doesn't just stop there. It continues to climb its way up the ladder because the people who will not be affected have infinite money. You see that online, the infinite money glitch, the infinite money hack. A billionaire has an infinite money hack. Mackenzie Scott, Jeff Bezos' first divorce, divorced him, got billions of dollars, right? She's given away, I forget, something like, more than half of it, and she's richer because of how much money she has. People, especially Americans, don't understand because they've been desensitized to the word billionaire, how much money that is. That Mackenzie Scott, who again earned none of it besides being married to Jeff Bezos, which I guess she earned it, has given away so much money, over half of her billions, and is worth more today with giving away that much. You can read this. This is a common story among billionaires. Warren Buffett, him and Bill Gates had the Bill Gates Foundation or whatever, where they were planning to give away all their money before they died. And Warren Buffett had come out and said, I had to give it to my kids because I'm too old. And my children, I gave a 10-year deadline to give it away. And in the interview, he said, and I don't think they're going to be able to do it. It's so much money that he doesn't even believe, like, I couldn't give it away. My kids aren't going to be able to give it away. They're just so filthy rich. That's the true infinite money hack. And for somebody to be like, you guys are loony, when I'm like, you just deserve the basic decency every human deserves. And here in a wealthy country, we can easily make that happen. Look at New York with Mamdani, how he's balanced the budget. He's implemented measures to get workers back the money that was stolen from them, from the corporations they work for, how he's put more bathrooms in the city for more people to have access to it, how he's worked for implemented policies to give people free childcare for next year for certain ages so they can work and survive. Like, these things are definitely doable, but your short-sightedness and your lack of, understanding that you're being played by the algorithms, the billionaires, the people who own all the facets of technology today. Being married to Jeff Bezos is serious labor, I'm sure. Oh my God, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. How could you disagree with anyone advocating for better conditions? It does make no sense. Good to see you, Nightshade, by the way. And this is the funniest thing. If I advocate for it, right? If I say prices should be lower, workers should be paid more. Get out of here, you loony. But if Donald Trump says this, they cheer.
We will end inflation and make America affordable again. We're going.
What do you hear me saying? Make America affordable. How does that happen? It doesn't happen with a rich guy. Everything's affordable to him. Doesn't happen with a guy who has caused some of this crisis with his own corporate dealings. So it's so funny when I can say the same exact things that Donald Trump campaigned on. They label me as a loony, radical, woke, and they don't see that they're getting played. It's the most anti-American mindset you can have, to hate your fellow Americans. And that's what you do when you advocate for people to not have enough money to just afford the bare necessities. And you advocate for people to just work harder, which, heads up, everybody's been working a whole lot harder over the past few fucking decades. Look at the productivity numbers. Productivity has shot through the roof. Wages have not kept up with that. Oh, what's up, Gmont? Good to see you. Good to see you. Oscar, say something smart. No, these are the people that, can't. They can't engage on any kind of intellectual level. They have to try to distract, desensitize, rationalize, justify, look over here. These people are not the ones we're targeted at. These are the people that when Donald Trump says, "Did you know dumb has a B?" They go, "Fucking Albert Einstein, man. You hear that? I've been doing it wrong." Like, that's the Donald Trump audience. There's no helping them. They made that clear when they were like, release the Epstein files. And Donald Trump was like, it's a hoax. And they were like, all right, never mind. Like, there are some people, unfortunately, in this world where you're like, I'm glad they're not on our team, as loyal subjects as they are, as loyal and faithful to whatever fearmonger can tap into the insecurities they hold deep inside of them. That's not the people you want. You want the people who can stand on something, have some kind of principle, morality, something. Even the people that may be a little brainwashed to sway to the other side, but then they kind of come to, like you see. And this is why I tell the mods, let people chat. If they say a slur, get them out of here. People that think that Tony Heathcliff, Joe Rogan mothership style comedy is funny. You see what Joe Rogan's doing. He's a compromised asset of Peter Thiel. Oscar, you named after the baloney. Oh, look, see, and this is what I mean. I said this at the beginning. I said this like 2 hours ago. Oscar, I hate to break it to you. I'm not going to talk about jobs because you exhausting small brain, tiny dick energy people that come in here go, what's your job? It doesn't fucking matter. I watched this all day play out. Oh, that guy doesn't have a job, or that guy's this. I don't respect them. Oh, that guy's so rich. How could he advocate for the workers? You're not here. It's a straw man argument. It's a straw man argument. It doesn't exist. Because whether I'm CEO or the janitor, you're not going to, the message wasn't meant for anybody. I think it was Jesus Christ who had said, if they have ears, they'll hear. You have no ears, Oscar, and it's okay. Don't you think Joe had to have morals in the first place to be considered compromised? I think Joe had morals. And I think they bought him from him for $200 million. Money will do a funny thing to a person, Yeah, Donald Trump is just an heiress. He just inherited his dad's money. Rogan? Yeah. When I would, it was very sporadically. Stapleson, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Do you guys think that Trump is morbidly obese and incompetent, or just regular obese and incompetent? Question of the day. I think morbidly obese, because the more I see him, let me see if I have the picture of where he's sitting. When he's sitting down, I'm pretty sure he's de-evolving into a toad. I don't know if I still have the picture. Because there was one picture where, like, the way he was sitting, I was like, God damn. Dude's a circle. Oh, come on. Did I really get rid? No, here it is. Look at that. Now, Stephenson, you're telling me that that's not morbidly obese? If you, like, did that, he looked like a little Oompa Loompa, you know? But look at that. My God. What is he wearing? 4 bulletproof vests under there? And, like, 3 Depends diapers? Like, you can't look at that man and be like, oh, yeah, that's a perfect stature of health right there. Blood pressure fine, ankles not fat, you know? Dude, that is, yeah, that's morbidly obese. Even by American standards. I wouldn't be surprised at some point they had like one of them like little ghost scooters that you see people on at Walmart shopping in. You know, he's just gonna be putzing around the White House in one of those scooters, saying, "Feed me fries, feed me fries. Come here, Melania, feed me fries." A bulletproof diaper. He's got a bulletproof diaper on. System doesn't need you healthy. It needs you buying. And that is true. That's just a fact. Our economy doesn't work on, you know, your health. It works on you purchasing stuff, selling your data, or not you selling it, but getting your data scraped and stolen. And then the billionaires profit off that. This isn't an economy for us. Taft. Taft. Dude that got stuck in the tub. Here, the tribe bot. This is what we see in the comments. A weeble wobble. I like that. I like that. A weeble wobble. Look at these adorable weeble wobbles. Gitrog the monster. Hold on. I need to see what that is. Gitrog the monster. Oh my god, yeah. Ooh. I should put that as a thumbnail. Make a Trump Gitrog the monster image. Okay. Loyalty mistaken for truth. Team identity armor. Only detects enemy propaganda. Outrage amplifier. History causes system error. This is like some dude is always up in my comments saying, why don't you go protest in the streets? And my reply today, you know, after many of his comments, a lot of these people become obsessed. It's a bit weird. But when he was telling me, why don't you go protest in the highway? And I forget what else. I probably didn't even read the whole thing. I said, you must have hated the founding fathers and the revolutionaries who took part in the Boston Tea Party. You must have hated them because you understand the Boston Tea Party was a protest. So it's just adorable when history causes these people, you know, a system error. But that's all they are, you know, and they're all saying the same thing. That's why, like, Elon Musk, you got to get some better bots, homie. You know, your bots keep coming in here and just saying, what's your job? Get a job. What are you, homeless? Live with your mom. It's on repeat. It's really funny. And when you consider that, you know, the news the other day was a guy saying bots online have outpaced humans, and he didn't expect that till next year. So there are just more bots on the web than ever. Tribalism is destructive in the end. That's literally all of them. Yeah, I thought this was a great image. I have a few other ones too if you want to see them. Oh, we all know this one. The Corporate Crusader. I love the word synergy, bandwidth, circle back, actionables, touch base. You know, these are all the people that stay in their little lane and keep us from progress. And that's why we need community, not tribalism. Wait, no, that's not. I'll show you another one. And then the performative prophet. Courage requires an audience, morality optimized for applause, justice content loading, private bravery pending. Now this, when I was thinking about the No Kings, you know, I'm not saying this is all of them, and I respect the people that will show up, but showing up on a Saturday because it's not a work day for you, to just go yell in the streets is not what we need. What has No Kings done? I don't even know how many we've done. What has it gotten accomplished? Nothing. There's no organization efforts post that, you know, people aren't building networks to, you know, whatever. And really, when you think about it, No Kings is, you know, this event where I would imagine, just like on J6, where Donald Trump was watching from the comfort of his luxurious, protected area, and he was watching these people just go in and absolutely desecrate things. I'd imagine that's what the elites are doing on No King's Day. They're sitting in their skyscrapers, their penthouses, on their private planes, on their private islands, on their mega yachts, or in their submarines that follow the mega yachts, or the helicopters that land on the mega yachts. And they're watching the live feed of the No Kings protests, giggling. Like, that's cute. They'll all go home at 6, and we'll just keep being corrupt. We'll just keep robbing them blind. So again, it's not that I'm against that stuff, but these things need to have a purpose, you know. Just doing it to show people that you're upset is not the purpose. We're all fucking upset. Even the bots are upset. They're upset that, you know, I'm doing this live stream. Now let's look at this. My America, stronger together, kinder together, free together. The nourishment, the community loop, the dignity machine, the possibility, the legacy. It doesn't want a payment plan. It wants a future. Right? Social media encourages performative behavior, a very true statement. That's what that guy was kind of getting at in the opposite end. It also can detract from people wanting to take action. Because as you know, all these data centers everywhere are just massive surveillance networks. And not only does social media encourage performative behavior, like you see the looks maxers where they're like hitting themselves in the head with a hammer to look better, which if you got to hit yourself in the face with something, I would say, you know, you're probably ugly on the inside. But social media will encourage that kind of performative behavior, right? Or the social justice performative behavior, or, you know, anything to get clicks. But it also will detract because a lot of people are hyper aware of how everything is filmed. And with a government like this fascist one we have, where they're, you know, where Donald Trump got booed at the Knicks game, and now they're saying they're going to have an ICE surge in New York, where it's a very retaliatory government and they're trying to suppress your ability to critique or dissent against the government, and where they've made a mockery of the injustice system by arresting people for doing seashell designs on the seashore. When you have that kind of government, it will deter people from taking action or participating because they feel like the risk is too high to be recorded, put on social media, XYZ, which has ultimately just become also a surveillance state. Because when you think about the kid from Norway who was coming into America and they checked his phone and saw a JD Vance meme and they denied him entry and sent him back to Norway. That was a story that happened at the beginning of Donald Trump's term, and that is real. So when people are, you know, getting booted out or detained for memes, you know, it has the chilling effect that it is intended for. And that is intended to send a message that, yeah, we did do this because of a meme. What was the other one that just recently happened? Oh, Jimmy Kimmel just joked about Donald Trump and they tried to get him fired. It has the intended message of, hey, look at what we're doing to a very famous celebrity who you can watch on TV. We're going to give him hell. What do you think we're going to do to you? And then when you just compound that with the fact that Donald Trump has already sent his Epstein agents into the street to murk Americans. Did we forget about that, Minneapolis? And there are many Americans and children and people who have committed no crime in detention centers right now. Right now, at this moment, whatever kind of life you're living, just remember that there are people in these ICE detention facilities who have committed no crime, have not had a day in court, and hardly get access to a lawyer. They have been kidnapped and confiscated. And if you can hear that and still think you're some kind of patriot, you're the worst kind of patriot. You're a fake triot. Agreed, Charles. What is Charles saying? It's not just Trump. Dems and Repubs are the same way. They want to control us. 100%. 100%. Gmail, the terms the kids use these days, everything maxing. Yeah. Trump's prison maxing, grift maxing, stealing our tax money maxing, illegalities maxing. You know, Elon is cringe maxing. Jeff Bezos is blowing up rockets maxing. Explode maxing. It's funny. I don't know how the language evolves like that, but I always appreciate it. I call them Playtriots. Ooh, even better. Moody Spooky Siamese. Moody Spooky Siamese. Oh, that's your cat. Adorable. Illiteracy maxing. That's just America. America has been illiteracy maxing for decades. Bootlicking maxing. Sorry, I was trying to see. I was missing some of the comments. Prison maxing. Yep. Fatism maxing. Obese. Oh, hold on. I'll show you a picture of obese maxing. Here's what obese maxing looks like. Dementia maxing. Spray tan maxing. Makeup maxing. Mog maxing. Mogging. Shitler maxing. I love it. All right, I'm not reading that one, Terry. Of course, that was your input. Terry is a MAGA, and of course, his mind goes right there right away. He's probably thinking about Epstein when he typed that one. Haven't watched the whole interview, just clips of what? I knew you were going to throw that pick up. I have to. Have you ever seen such a rotund dude who isn't jolly? I thought fat folks were supposed to be jolly. Donald Trump's the fattest, unjolliest man ever. God damn. Adult diaper maxing. Yeah, that is the one where he walked out. I already played that audio, but he's old as too. Joe was. People love him. It's a cult of personality. People are literally brainwashed. I was. Oh, really? Were you, Charles? That's interesting. What, Charles? Please stay here. Hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Charles, what broke you free? Ozempic maxing. Angry anti-Santa. Antifa Santa. No, he'd hate that. Charles, what was your pathway out of MAGA being brainwashed? I'm so curious. You know, I know there's a few YouTubers who do this too, but I'm just super, super curious what your pathway out was. The war in Iran, trying to get ICE in our schools to get their parents. Interesting. And this is, well, Charles, I don't know if you were here earlier when I said, there's some MAGA that are just cult of personality. There's no hope. Their whole thing is like, if you criticize Donald Trump, you are the enemy. They've identified themselves as Trump's persona. So they've completely morphed into mini Trumps, right? And Donald Trump says, you're either with us or against us. The journalist, like, I don't know who he hasn't called an enemy. People who've worked for him, you've called an enemy. Anybody who's ever, taken even the slightest criticism of him becomes an enemy. So that's what these MAGA people have adopted as their persona. Anybody who threatens my dear king, who's an heiress to his dad, we must go full-fledged attack mode on them, right? And they can't listen to reality. That's why I say some of these people are just not worth discussing. But Charles, you are the point. Hold on. This is supposed to be a time of peace, and Sean Ryan opens my eyes to full BS every Paul. Oh, so you listen to Sean Ryan. I wish you were here the other day. I just played some of his stuff and how full of shit Sean Ryan is. And we can get into that another time. I would just, Charles, and I genuinely mean this, be very careful. Sean Ryan is not trustworthy. He's not. And I'll just say, oh, that's adorable. Who sent that? Captain Obvious. Oh, that was so cute. But Charles, let me just say this. Sean Ryan prides himself on like an elite military record and being a very smart dude, and that's how he became the podcaster. But anybody who claims to be at that caliber and couldn't see Donald Trump for what he is, has ulterior motives, whether it's to sell you vigilant elite gummies, which he does, or just to continue getting clicks. And that's why I think Sean Ryan took the turn, because he saw how poisonous Donald Trump was, understood that his audience is going to get mad, so he pivoted. And now he's playing this game of like, what's going on, man? And at no point, I don't think Sean Ryan has ever come out and been like, I fucking helped cause this. They're not taking ownership of the hole they dug us in. So just be careful. And I can go into that at a different time, but genuinely, what I was talking about, or genuinely, just be careful. But what I was talking about before is there's some cult of personality MAGA. And then there's the MAGA that just kind of bought into the influence of our day. The culture of our day is really based on podcasters becoming experts and a very divided internet and cultivated feeds that will sell you things that you didn't even know they had the data on. Like, they know your deepest and darkest, and they're specifically manipulating what you are able to view on the internet to influence your feelings, because they know people act on feelings, and they react to feelings. Feelings are a very, very potent driving force. But Charles, I think, had the character of wanting to, being under the influence of the Enchantress podcast network and being under the influence of all of the propaganda, the gazillion-dollar propaganda machine that is the American media network, all of them. And that influence can be hard to resist, especially when you have to compete just to fucking live here in America. There are no social safety nets. And you have to also, constantly deal with the rhetoric of division. The rich people are always trying to tell you it's not us with all the money that are stealing your food and taking your paychecks and firing you from your jobs. It's the people who are different that live in your neighborhood. They're the ones that are doing the layoffs and not letting you get raises, and you can't buy a home and eggs are expensive, which doesn't even make sense on its face once I say it like that to you. But they have very, very suave ways of presenting those arguments. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you've heard it, you can't unhear it. And I think Charles fell victim to that. And it's okay. But he saw through it, which is amazing. And I commend you, Charles. And that's rad that you can also own it and be like, dude, I was brainwashed and I got the fuck out. because I think you have some character and some heart. So that's good to hear, man. People will trade in their souls for clicks, but we won't forget. 100% cast iron kitty. That's what you're seeing right now with the Megyn Kellys, Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, Andrew Schultz, Tim Dillon, Theo Vaughn. You know, they are actors. They are playing a role. They are getting the demographic reports and the polling and seeing where the waves are flowing, and they're heading in that direction. Tucker Carlson doesn't believe a word he says. You know, most of these right-wing people don't. Donald Trump just fully exposed that. Donald Trump was the one who was like, I'm going to end inflation. And then today he said, 2 years ago, I'm going to end inflation. Today, I love inflation. Like they're saying anything they want. They don't care because they know how divided the people are. And the only thing they fear is us uniting. Captain Obvious agreed. I know the Democrats have a lot of issues, but they're nowhere near who we need to worry about. So to critique them right now is all bullshit. I would say you can critique them because they are complicit in this. They're complicit. While they're watching the Republicans pull out any safety guards and break rules and break stuff and apologize and not apologize later, doing illegal activities, the Democrats have kind of been doing nothing the whole time, pounding their fists and this will change and you got to vote harder. So I would say the only thing that makes the Republicans much, much worse is, they're pedo supporting politicians, completely complicit. They just went along with Donald Trump. You heard the stories when Lauren Boebert put her name, signed her name to the victims thing. Donald Trump called her personally and railed her out, and that's what you get with the political party of the Republicans, the GOP, the guardians of pedos. They have absolutely sold their soul in worship to Epstein's best friend, and that is the one thing where I say you can't really criticize both parties equally because one is full-fledged allowing the illegal activity of the Trump regime to continue by not releasing all the Epstein files. They are breaking the law. And why are they allowing that? Because then they lose power. Because once that other stuff comes out, you can't deny it. As much as people will try, you won't be able to. They're all dirty. Follow the paper trails. 100%, Teresa. And I always try to tell, vote harder and give up your rights. It's both sides have been trying to whistleblow on Epstein for years. Yeah, the vote harder, give up your rights. That resonates. It only cost AIPAC $20 million to remove Tom Massey. And the craziest thing is, like, we give Israel so much money, so that's just your tax dollars being laundered through AIPAC to remove somebody who is working for you. You know what I mean? Like, when you really think about it, like, the U.S. is sending hundreds of millions to Israel, and they're in return using that money to buy our politicians. So they're using our tax money to buy our politicians. That's crazy. Dude, I'm from Kentucky. I was pissed. I couldn't imagine, you know what I mean? Like, when they talk about elections rigged, the only thing they should mention is they're rigged by money. Wait, what did Cage say? Republicans also falsely represent a religion to serve plutocratic agendas. That is very true. Okay. Oh, we've been on here for a while. Guys, please, if you haven't, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I think I finished that audio. We'll get some stuff. We'll hit the news tomorrow. Cal here. Please don't let Newsom near the White House. No, I do not like Newsom at all. Newsom is another one of those shifty figures, man. Very scary. Again, what was the thing I showed you? Hold on. On that note, Gmon, let me show you this before we wrap up, because I think this is vital. This is very vital. No, I did not delete it. This is what I think about Newsom. If he's going to get in the way of a wealth tax, that's all I need to know. Enemy doesn't arrive by boat, he arrives by limousine. Remember that, folks. It's an important life lesson. Good to catch you live, Gma, Cast Iron Kitty, Nightshade, Primal Screams, JS. Yeah, well, we could say that about almost anyone. At least he isn't that orange slathering clown. That's a great word, slathering. That word sounds like the action it makes. Interesting. Charles, also talking to people who disagree with you instead of just calling them names. Help me open my eyes. Excellent, Charles. That's a point I keep trying to make. Not with the hardcore MAGA people that just, they're doing the straw man arguments. Like those people, I'll go right the fuck after. But people who want to have a discussion, it's important. And that's why I tell the mods, please, unless they're saying slurs, let them stay. If they're calling me jobless, homeless, loser, live with my mom, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like what it tells me is like those are the things that might affect them, but we got bigger fish to fry, man. You know, if you're concerned about a guy on a live stream having a home or not, and not about the Epstein files, you might be a pedo supporter. You know, we should do a whole stand up like Jeff Foxworthy. You know how I know you're a pedo supporter? Presidential poopy pants. I love it. That's funny. A good looking reptile is still a snake. What if they dick ride the Gestapo? Yeah, well, I'm still leave them in the comments. Who cares? Who cares? You know, I don't care. I care about the slurs, the misogyny, the racism, the homophobia, that stuff. If they're dick riding the Gestapo, we're seeing that every day. I'm not going to get rid of that. You know, we got bigger fish to fry. If you can even, and fish in this economy, come on. It's not a diaper, it's more of a portable septic tank. Go watch some more crabs, my man. YOLO. That crab is so adorable. You're more concerned about them having a home than they are, ironically. Nightshade, good point. When I was saying that, I was thinking out loud. I was like, it's so funny that they're always like, are you homeless? And I'm like, do you want to stop homelessness in America? By the way, I forgot that story. Oh my God. Speaking of California, I can't skip this story. I cannot. I've tried to tell you guys about this with the book Utopia for Realists forever. Homelessness is falling in California for the first time in years. Here's what changed. Wasn't fucking anything besides what I've been talking about. Address the crisis with prevention programs, supportive housing and mental health services, and a more aggressive encampment cleanup operations. So when they clean people up, they give them housing and mental health services and prevention programs for people before they come homeless. These are all excellent ways to spend our taxes or billionaires' taxes. If you don't like homeless people, guess what? Put them in a home. Simple as that. You know, I haven't heard any other answer besides, people wanting to put them in jail. But you shouldn't go to jail just because you don't have a home. That doesn't make sense. So I really want to share this article with you, and I linked this down below. This is in Time Magazine, because this is important, because we can do this. We could eradicate homelessness. We can eradicate hunger. We have the resources. We have the manpower. We can. It's just we have to come together, organize, and we have to push for it. And once you see that it works, and especially in the Utah case that I've read to you before in that book, it saved taxpayer money. It was saving people money because there were no court costs, jail, the taxes weren't spent in ridiculous ways where it was just this revolving door of continually paying and criminalizing, paying and criminalizing, paying. When you just saw, you got some issues. All right, let's put you in a house and let's clear up the issues. Reintegration into society. Everyone deserves that. My God, man. My God. Only welfare for the rich and their companies. That's the truth. All right, guys. So I had to show you that. I'm totally, I'm so happy I remember that. Okay. Much love, much respect. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'll see you guys tomorrow.